What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video, and I hope everyone is having a great day. I'm having a great day myself, and before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Again, these are all great ways to support the daily content, but enough the promotional stuff, let's get into it because it appears that the 2028 presidential election has just begun. Yeah, that's right. Despite the fact that election night was only a couple weeks ago, we are already talking about 2028. And I'm not going to say that this is a prediction or whatever, because it's not. I am not saying that this is for sure going to happen because, well, we just got done with 2024, and 2028 is 4 years away. So there is a lot of time between now and election night 2028. But we are finally getting our first polls into 2028, and, well, they're showing some very fascinating trends. Echelon Insights released their first poll of, I guess, the 2028 cycle, and I know it's crazy to talk about it now, but they just released it. And it appears that J.D. Vance is the clear frontrunner for the Republican nomination. This should be a surprise to absolutely no one. Listen, I don't care who you are. You may not like J.D. Vance. You may think he's a rhino or some crap like that. I don't care. J.D. Vance, more than likely, is going to win the nomination in 2028. And I know I said that I won't make predictions, but this is the one thing I'll say about 2028. Despite the fact that we are still 4 years away from election night 2028, I believe that J.D. Vance is going to be the Republican nominee. Now, a lot of stuff can change. Like I said, it's only November 2024. We are 4 years away, and anything could happen. Maybe Vance has a big scandal that sinks him. Maybe Trump hates him by the end of his second term. I guess that's entirely possible, but more than likely, this is Vance's nomination to lose. Right now, he's already at 37% of the vote, according to Echelon Insights. And in second place, funny enough, is Vivek Ramaswamy. And more than likely, he's not going to even run. So those voters are probably going to break for Vance anyways. Now, there are other people supposedly considering to run. Nikki Haley's probably going to run anyways. She's only getting 9%. DeSantis, I don't know why he would run again, but he's getting 8%. Ted Cruz only 5%. Rubio only 5%. In other words, J.D. Vance, as of now, is the clear frontrunner. In fact, I would say right now, I 100% endorse J.D. Vance for 2028, because let's be honest, this is J.D. Vance's party. After Trump eventually steps down because, well, he can't run for another term, he's going to endorse Vance. J.D. Vance is going to run for president and be the successor to Trump. Like, why else did Trump pick Vance? Honestly, he wanted a successor. He wanted someone that he could trust to control the MAGA movement, to run it after he's gone. Because this is it for Trump. He's not running for any more races. He's done. This 2024 was it for Trump, and he won. So he's not going to run in 2028, and now it's J.D. Vance's party. At least, you know, down the line, it's going to be his party. So he's going to be the nominee. I just don't see how Trump endorses anyone but his vice president. Like, would he endorse Ramaswamy over Vance? I highly doubt it. Like, if he wanted Ramaswamy to be a successor, why didn't he pick him? If he wanted DeSantis to be a successor, well, why didn't he pick DeSantis? It's clear. J.D. Vance is Trump's successor. He is going to be the guy that carries the movement after Trump. Of course, Trump is still going to be relevant for the next couple of years, but he is getting older, and I don't think after his second term he's going to be that involved. Like, he might still do a couple of events here and there, but I highly doubt that he's going to do his usual barnstorm of the swing states at the last second. I highly doubt that. I guess it's possible, but more than likely, J.D. Vance is the successor, and I think this is brilliant for a bunch of reasons. For starters, of the names listed here, Vance, Ramaswamy, Haley, DeSantis, Cruz, Rubio, of the names, who do you trust the most to get Trump voters out to vote? This is the number one question for any candidate. Can you get Trump voters out to vote? Nikki Haley, that's a joke. She has no pathway. Ted Cruz, highly doubt it. Marco Rubio, maybe with Hispanics, but that's doubtful. DeSantis, a lot of Trump voters, they hate his guts now. Ramaswamy, maybe, but I have questions about that. So J.D. Vance just makes the most logical sense. He is the only one that I believe, of these candidates, that could actually bring back the Trump movement. He's the only one that can get people out to vote. These other candidates, outside of maybe Ramaswamy and maybe, I guess, Rubio in a bizarre scenario, I just don't see anyone voting for Nikki Haley. Like, why would any Trump voter vote for Nikki Haley? JD Vance, meanwhile, is the only person listed here that I really believe could get the Trump voters out to vote, which is going to be a huge problem when Trump is gone. Like, how the hell will you get these people out to vote when Trump is gone? Because these people, they don't like Republicans. They don't like the Nikki Haley types. They just love Trump. They voted for Trump, not the Republican Party. Hell, the results in 2024 indicate that. But yeah, these voters were Trump or bust. They said, F you to the Republican Party. I am voting for Donald Trump. JD Vance is the only one that could keep this coalition alive, at least mostly intact. In fact, you could argue he might expand it, but we'll get to that in a second. Either way, JD Vance is the most closely aligned with Trump on the issues. He is going to be Trump's vice president, and I guarantee you he's going to be endorsed by Trump. So he's going to have the Republican Party more than likely behind him anyways. So we may not even need a primary, or I should say a real primary, in the first place. But more than likely a bozo like Nikki Haley or Liz Cheney, they may run for president and get absolutely crushed. But I do believe that, yeah, JD Vance is going to be the Republican nominee. And I truly believe that no matter who Democrats run in 2028, even if they run their best possible candidate, I think JD Vance is the favorite. And I know that sounds crazy because a couple months ago, everyone was saying, oh, JD Vance is the worst vice presidential pick ever. He's going to sink Trump. He's going to cost him the presidency. Well, guess what? That was never real. Like, this idea that Vance was unelectable, that he was going to hurt Trump with, suburban women or some crap like that, that was artificial bullshit being pushed by Democrats and the media. Remember, the Democrats were claiming, oh, JD Vance was so weird. He's too conservative. He's such a lunatic. Well, guess what happened? JD Vance had a debate with Tim Walz, and ever since then, everyone realized, oh, wait a minute. This guy's for real. This guy's incredibly smart. He's not weird. He's just a normal dude from Ohio. He's a normal guy from Ohio that understands what Americans are going through today. He isn't weird. And in fact, you could argue of all the things Democrats did in 2024, this might be the biggest backfire of them all. Because they set Vance's expectations so low during the debate that people realized that, wait a minute, he's not weird, he's not crazy, he's not dumb. He's incredibly smart. He knows what he's talking about. Look at his favorability. Just a couple months ago, it was -11. Then in late October, it was -3. Now, it's +1. In fact, of the 4 people on the main tickets in 2024, Tim Walz, JD Vance, Kamala Harris, and Trump, JD Vance had the best favorability of the 4 of them. Yeah, he had the highest favorability. So much for Vance being this extremely weak candidate that's going to sink Trump. In fact, I would argue Vance is actually a stronger candidate than Donald Trump. Because I believe that not only will Vance keep Trump's base, but he could expand it. Because there is a certain type of voter in America that just hates Trump's guts. They don't care what Trump's policies are. They may agree with everything he says. But there's a lot of voters, especially in suburban areas, that no matter what you say to them, they're just orange man bad, right? They don't like Trump. They hate his guts. They want him to go away. And they would never vote for him. Well, someone like JD Vance, he doesn't come across as bombastic. He is more articulate. He is talking about issues. He's not trying to start fist fights with, random people. Like, no. He is calm, he's reserved, he's articulate, and I believe it could help Vance in a place like Waukesha, Wisconsin. I really believe the trends in places like Waukesha, Washington, even Ozaukee a little bit, I really believe a lot of these trends, they're because of Trump just not being a good fit for these areas. JD Vance, meanwhile, doesn't have those same quote-unquote flaws. He's not going to have people saying, well, I support everything Vance says, but he's too bombastic for my liking, so I'm going to vote for the Democrat no matter what. So you start doing the math and you realize, wait a minute, if Vance is able to keep, let's just say 95% of Trump's coalition, because some voters, they may be done with elections after Trump won. They may say, screw it. Trump won, we did our job, I'm not going to vote again. That's entirely possible. But I believe Trump or Vance will keep 95% of the Trump coalition. But then you add on top of, hey, Maybe Vance makes inroads with groups that, for in recent years, have been shifting away from the Republican Party because they just don't like Trump. But maybe they like Vance, which that's what the exit polling suggested that, yeah, people actually liked J.D. Vance after the debate, after a bunch of podcasts. Hell, even the New York Times, they did a bunch of interviews with young, undecided voters, and the ones that broke for Trump, the majority of them said they broke for Trump because they loved J.D. Vance. Yeah, that's a real thing. A bunch of young voters, they decided, you know what? I like J.D. Vance. I may not like Trump, but J.D. Vance is the future. I think even someone in the interview said, yeah, he's the future of the Republican Party. That's why I'm supporting Donald Trump. These are voters that Democrats for years have won by like 80 points. But now, J.D. Vance being the nominee, he might change all of that. Now, with the Republican side, I believe, being settled, I mean, I don't see how Vance loses the primary unless something absolutely crazy occurs. Like, he has such a big scandal that sinks him completely. I don't see how he loses the nomination. And quite frankly, they threw everything at Vance this cycle. Like, if this was all they had on him, well, there's no stopping him. He's going to be the nominee in 2028. And more than likely, I think he's going to win. Now, as for the Democrat side, they have a big problem. So, they pulled the Democratic primary, and Kamala Harris had the most support. Now, I don't think that Kamala Harris is going to run again. I highly doubt it. But if she runs again, and the Democrat Party nominates her, for starters, they're tripling down on their bullshit. That means they haven't learned a damn thing. They really believe that, 2024 was a fluke, you know, Kamala Harris needed more time. If she would have ran a campaign for a full year, she would have won. No, she wouldn't have. I've argued that if she was in the race earlier, like let's say April or March, I believe she would have lost by an even wider margin. Because in her 2 to 3 months of her campaign, she kept saying the dumbest things possible that made people think, wait, this is the vice president? She has no clue what the hell she's talking about, but she's the VP? She's a heartbeat away from the presidency? Yeah, I'm not going to vote for that. And as for some of the other names, Gavin Newsom, does anyone think a governor from California can win? For crying out loud, he would probably underperform in California. What do you think's going to happen in Wisconsin? Do you think these working class union voters, do you really think they're going to vote for Gavin Newsom over J.D. Vance? Like, that's not going to happen. Pete Buttigieg would get crushed. Tim Walz is a meme. I mean, he's not going to run. AOC would lose states like New Jersey. Now, the only one Democrats could run that I would argue is kind of strong is Josh Shapiro. But I would argue that he's not as strong as he once was. I believe there's a bunch of big scandals that are slowly creeping up on him that could really sink his career. And we'll see what happens in 2026, but if he underperforms in 26, like, he's going to win, I believe, but if he barely wins by, like, 5 points or something, he's not going to be the nominee. He's going to be in trouble. There's no way he could win the nomination, let alone the general. So you start doing the math, it's like, wait, they're going to possibly be stuck with Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, maybe Pete Buttigieg? And I know people like Whitmer may run, but you just start looking more at this, it's like, wait, the Republican Party, they're going to go with someone that most Americans agree is smart, they believe is the future of the GOP. They're going to vote for him. While the Democrat Party, they're going to have a complete shit show of a primary, especially if Harris doesn't run. And not only that, their choice is probably going to be incredibly weak. It could be AOC, Pete Buttigieg, Newsom. And the only relatively strong one is Josh Shapiro, but even then, I don't think he could beat Vance, and I don't think he could even win a primary. That's the problem Democrats have. They have such a crappy bench. While the Republican Party, they're behind Vance already. Like, this number is only 37%, but come 2027, this could be like 70%. The vast majority of people are going to say, yeah, I'm voting for J.D. Vance in the Republican primary. We'll see what happens, but if you're the Democrat Party, you don't like this whatsoever. The fact that Kamala Harris has the best polling, and I know that's because of recency bias, and, you know, she was the Democrat nominee. I get that, but if she runs for president and they get stuck with her again, they're going to get absolutely crushed, especially if in 4 years the economy is going good, if the southern border is secured, there's no more wars across the world. If it's a better world in 4 years, which I think it will be, imagine them running Kamala Harris. Like, oh, the vice president for Biden, who had 4 shit years, versus the vice president of Trump, who had 8 very good years. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.